Good day, ladies and gents, guys and girls. Thanks for joining in. We're bringing you a brand new episode for Car Mechanics Simulator 2021. This is the fourth episode in this installment. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Today we're rebuilding a vehicle that I picked up off of the auction. Okay, so first things first, we're in the engine bay over here. We're gonna have to start stripping away, so let's just get into it. Removing the air filter base now, carburetor is the next thing we're gonna remove. Intake manifolds. Okay, as you can see, my unscrewing speed is still a little bit slow. That's just because we haven't really upgraded it. With all the skill points we've received, we've just tried to get the repair station to its max, but once it's hits max, then we can focus on the other things. So we're just going to go forward and remove everything, all the extra little bits and pieces of the engine. There's the ignition cap, a mount. Moving on to a few suspension parts, taking the wheels off. Now it's the brakes, hub, wheel bearing, outer rod, tie rod, inner tie rod, a few rubber bushings and so on. Let's take off the other wheel. Same thing this side. Just trying to remove as much as possible now so that we can get the engine out, and then from there we can take it from there. The whole idea with this build is to remove everything, strip everything down to its core, and right there you get your first look at the truck that we're building. Beautiful red truck. We're just going to drain the oil out of the engine here quick, just so that everything is okay. Quite a bit of oil, which is a good sign. That's normally what happens when you get a vehicle from the auction. They're in quite good condition. So yeah, let's just go ahead. We start stripping stuff again so that we can get to get that engine out. Drive shaft coming out. Now the gearbox. Rear wheel coming off with its drum brake system. Suspension, rear suspension parts. Just out of interest's sake, if you are looking to also do something similar and make a little bit of extra money, this whole entire process, once you're really in the motion and you know what you're doing and you get things going, can take anywhere between an hour to about an hour and 15 minutes to get this entire process done. You'll see with this build specifically, what I did is I stripped all the parts and I repaired them. I repaired what I could. I didn't and then I didn't buy any new parts. So you're taking the car from the auction, stripping it down, repairing whatever you can, body parts and so on. Repair as much as what you can, put it back together, and then get it sold and make a good profit. And that you can kind of do and grind a bit and then start making good money actually. So now we're just jumping in, repairing all the parts that I can, which is, I must say, it is a lengthy process and it does get tedious, but if you're not focusing, then you can end up destroying parts, which will then cost you to buy it because now it's broken and cannot be repaired. So just keep that in mind when doing it. Also another trick, if you'll see here, if you remove the tire, you can repair the rim, so just keep that in mind. And once you've put the tires back together again, just remember you have to balance them. Once the tire has been removed from any rim, doesn't matter what, you have to balance the tire again. You cannot just put it back together and put it on the vehicle. So just remember you need to balance those wheels. Now we busy with busy putting everything back together again. So busy with the fuse box over here, putting all the relays that's required, and there goes the cover back on, radiator, power steering, and now it's basically just putting everything back together again. Whatever you did remove and you could repair, you repair, and from there you just kind of have to put everything back together again. So we'll just from here, car goes up onto the left so we can put all the suspension parts in. You'll see some parts are beyond repair that need to really get repaired. A good thing is always to keep in mind that you want to keep all the parts in the green. I think green is from 80% and upwards. I can be wrong, I'm not entirely sure right now, but you kind of want to keep all the parts in the green. You know, if something is red or it's orange, let's say at like 50%, 40% and lower, it's better just to buy a new part, replace it, and get it over and done with. It's going to bring the value of the vehicle in any way so low that it just makes it's not worth it. At the end of the day, it's not worth it. So getting the rear suspension parts now, putting the shocks back together so you can install that. There goes on the other shock. That's all done. Good thing to do is just to always double check everything, make sure you've put everything back together. Jumping into the stripping of the engine. So there goes the head, as you can see. Now it's going to be the process of stripping down the engine, once again repairing what you can, and then just putting it back together again. All the valves and the rocker arms and the valve pins, and there are a lot of them. I must also say, when you do get to when you've got a nice bank, you can obviously take all these parts apart, repair what you can, and then whatever you couldn't repair, you can just buy brand new. But as you can see, we're not at that point yet. So for now, we're just stripping everything, taking everything apart, repairing it, and then just putting it back together. Give the car a good wash and then just sell it. So timing cover coming off there, cam, crankshaft, and yeah, once again now we go to we start the repairing process. And this is why I said that repair bench is so important, to try and get it on as early as possible, because once you've got it, it saves you a ton of money, and it's going to make you a ton of money in the long run as well. Once you've done the repair bench, the parts repair bench, you'll see the bench right here behind the engine. That's for body parts. I would say that should be your next big unlock. And then if you're going to get into the scrapyard, buy and repair and sell, then I would say start getting into get the welder as well, so that you can just fix all body, the body itself. As you can see, a few parts that were orange there, so I'm gonna go ahead, buy a few of them, rocker arms, valve pins and so on, just so that everything's nice and green. It's not 100%, not everything is 100%, but at least you know everything will be above 80%, which is also going to increase the value of the vehicle when you want to sell it. You are doing all this effort, so might as well make it worth it. Make it worth your while and make it worth your time. Oil pan going back now. Now all the clutch components, oil filter, ignition, brackets, flipping the engine around. Now it's time for the head, so that's going to go in, all those bolts. Intake manifold, carburetor. Now it's time for all the pins. The valve rods, sorry, my mistake. All the rocker arms. And this can take a while, but just keep in mind that paycheck at the end of the day when you do sell the vehicle. Spark plugs going in now. So there goes the ignition cap, all the wires, distributor, all of that's done. Buying a few electrical parts. Oh, looks like the wires were faulty or not up to standard. Fuel filter, brackets. You can now put back all your alternator, all your cam pulleys, timing chains, timing cover. That can all go back on the stand. All your belts, as you can see. And you can basically have a almost complete engine that you can just drop in, and you assemble everything on the engine stand, and then you just literally drop it into the car, put on the gearbox, put on the drive shaft, and you're good to go. It's always good, like I said, to have a walk around the whole engine. Make sure you haven't missed anything and so on. You can also do your final check when the engine is in and the car is on the ground. You can also do your final check. So as you can see, engine's in. You've used the engine crane. Just put it back on its place, and there are a few extra spots, extra spares, which is good because you can store that into your warehouse section, and you can use it on either the story orders, or you can use it just on normal orders that come in. So yeah, you go, you're going to go through every single page, make sure everything is green, make sure you haven't missed anything. Most of the time, if you've missed something, it will be at the end. So as you can see here, there's a few body panels, tail lights, windows, and so on that need repairing. And then there are some of the suspension parts that's missing: battery, drive shaft, inner tie rods, outer tie rods, and so on. And then obviously the rims, rubber bushings, but we'll get to that in a second. Now the starter will go on as soon as the gearbox is on, and then obviously all 4 tires as well. So let's just see where we're going to go from here. Okay, removing all the headlights, taking off the license plate, purchasing a new one. Rear tail lights, that's unfortunately something that you cannot repair, is any tail lights, headlights, and any glass in the game you cannot repair, which kind of makes sense. I mean, in real life you can't really repair those things neither. You can fix a crack and so on, but you'll never repair it to 100%. So those parts you kind of have to buy, and once again it just goes about it makes it worth it. At the end of the day, you can sell the car for much more, so replace what you can. If anything is, let's say, yellow or orange, so anything, say about 60% and lower, I'm gonna say, rather just spend the extra cash and get it sorted out. Just draining all the fluids, that's normally a part you also have to buy, is your windshield washer reservoir, and then you just need to fill it up. Make sure all the fluids are filled up. You do get a bit extra if you send a car off, or if you sell the car with fluids in, as opposed to when selling the car without any fluids, or just certain fluids. You do get a bit of extra cash if you sell it with with fluids in. So there, just putting in those last 2 rubber bushings, getting the tie rods, putting all the wheels on. So they've been balanced, they've been put together, balanced, and now it's just time for it to go on. And once all the tires are on, you can bring the car down off the lift and double check everything, do your final checks, and then it can get sold. So in a moment, yeah, we're going to see how much the car is worth. So everything there, as you can see, there was one of the tires that weren't up to par. Almost forgot the battery over there. Luckily that's now in. So the tire that's not correct, remove the tire. It won't be the rim because you've checked the rim and you've repaired the rim. So go ahead, buy a new tire, doesn't cost much, and like I said, the amount of profit you're going to gain at the end of the day is much more than what you just leave it there. So balance the tire, get it back on, and now everything should be green. You shouldn't have any yellow or orange parts. So as you can see here, quickly check, put the car down. Most likely you're going to want to do a final move the car either outside the garage, you know, and then start the selling process, or you're going to move the car and then go and car wash. In this case, we're going to first wash it. It is for free at the moment, so why not? Everyone wants to buy, when you buy a vehicle, you want a nice clean car, so, and it just makes it looks more appealing. At the end of the day, you've put in the work. These 2 extra steps, totally worth it. Once the exterior and the interior have been washed, we're going to move it. I like to always put it at garage entrance A, and then from there have your final look at your work. As you can see there to the right is our next project cars. So from here, I like to grab the camera, take a few photos, and now go through the final check. As you can see, 43,135 credits, which is massive. You can see it's pushed our credits from about 60,000 odd to about 100,000, and it makes a big difference. I mean, if you're doing about 4 or 5 of these vehicles, imagine the profit you start making. And yes, okay, cool, you do get it as a wreck, and you have to put in a lot of effort, but totally worth it at the end of the day. So that's about it. If you're still watching, thank you very much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know if there's anything you would like me to cover. Post it in the comments down below, and I'll try and get back to you as soon as possible. Further on, thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.